Hello, listeners of All Aboard with Rob Beliveau. Welcome back. As you may have heard from part 1 of this episode, we chose to break this up so that you could have a better experience listening or watching this episode that touches some very deep nerves as it relates to working with Indigenous partners of our land. I hope that you will sit back, listen, and enjoy, but also take away some learning from this part 2, as I know I did as it was being recorded. When you heard the feedback from Chris that other people were learning from your videos and from your knowledge, let's go back to the original story. You're looking across the river and you're saying, these people don't know anything about me. And fast forward, you've engaged with a professor at a university who has put this in a system and has delivered it to not just the people across the river now, because online learning can be anywhere, people far and abroad. How did that impact make you feel?
I felt really good about it.
Yeah.
And I say this, and I'll say it here. I represent my people, my elders. I mention them by name. These are the men and women that taught me. These are their words. I'm just interpreting them the way I could say it. So I'm a reflection of my elders. And I tell that to the kids. They go to Fort McLeod FP Walsh School. And I tell the students, you're a reflection of your home, your people. The way you behave here, that's a reflection of your home. I'd say that because I'm a reflection of the ones that taught me. But don't get me wrong, I still make mistakes. I still make stupid choices.
Well, I think
I'm only human.
Yeah, we are, and I think I'll take a little a lesson in learning from this, but I'll make a bit of maybe an opinionated statement here. I think what you've done, and from what I've seen, the youth that are looking up to you as an elder are probably learning as well from you, exploring this relationship and putting that information out there. And I would like to think you've probably inspired some of the youth to do what you've done.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I really do hope so. Because one of our elders, Alan Trade, would say, if I could just help one person, it's worth it. So if I can help more than one person or guide a young person, then yeah. Sometimes on young people, you've got to put a seed in there, in that mind. May not need it now, they might not use it now, but sometime in their life, they'll use it. It'll grow.
Yeah. It's super powerful. And I mean, this even goes back again to those of us that are looking to explore, just not being afraid to ask and get the truth, the information from the people who hold it, and treat it with respect. And let's all hope as educators, we are changing the life of one person. And hopefully today's podcast, some educators out there and even people in the business world who are looking to work with Indigenous populations are going to take a couple things today and have a little more comfort to have that conversation.
Just to build off of what Joe just shared about that pride in his home and wanting to represent his people, I would challenge listeners, viewers, to know the territory on which they're situated, the Indigenous territory on which they're situated. So I'm well aware that Mount Royal University is on traditional Blackfoot territory, needs it to be territory, meaning the real people. It's my responsibility to, working with a Blackfoot elder that knows the culture, the language, the sites as well as Joe does, and can tell the stories as Joe does as well as he does. I need to bring that into the classroom, and when we talk about indigenizing, I would encourage people to know the territory, the people that where you're working. And Rob, I see you doing that. I see you doing that with the people, the Mi'kmaq people here. I see it, and And I know Joe and we
Mhm.
both are very proud of the work that you and Jill are
Mhm.
doing with your company, Neon Train. And I just encourage you to continue doing it. And you are already, your actions are speaking louder than words. You are a man of your word. And so we commend you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's I find it's not hard to do because I enjoy it. I love learning and I love talking to people and creating relationships. And it's been an honor to work with you on this journey. And it actually leads into a little more of a topic that I wanted to talk about today, as I try to work with reconciliation and what it means, and what I can do with my, quite frankly, very privileged position to help others learn and guide. We talk about the idea of decolonization that must occur kind of before indigenization can happen, right? And when we look at that, it's kind of like the truth has to come out before we can reconcile, right? How do we navigate that discussion with people, educators, business owners, the general public that don't, we talked about how to start, like ask, great, but they're trying to navigate these words that are very, very deep and very rooted. And again, they're fearful of making a mistake. Is there a sequence? Is it that important, or do we just need to start doing things?
I think it's got to start doing it, but what's face the truth on this? There's still a lot of racism on there. There's still a lot of pushback, like what Chris doing at his school, at the university. There's pushback. And the places where there's a community, like a town, city, and there's a large native community, it's kind of centered in that area. But then you got these small white communities, towns, villages all over that don't know nothing about. They just hear,
Or they drive through it, or they drive past it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the reality of it. You talk about bubbles when the pandemic was on. I have my own company. I drive a truck, and I'm into recycling tires. So I go way out southeast in southern Alberta, way out in the middle of nowhere. I came to this place. They asked me to go out there, so I went there and met the guy, and it looked like it's the first time ever seeing or meeting a native. They were quite edgy. And as I left that place, realizing now that person or that family lives in a bubble. And then if I approach him for work, or somebody, a native person, I don't think he's going to hire him. He's really edgy. And I told the guys that work for me, you guys stay close to the truck. There was some outbuildings. After he left it, they wondered why I told him to stay close to the truck, not to wander off. So I just had a feeling somebody's watching us from those buildings, and you wander off, they might think you're taking something or whatever, and you'll get shot. Simple as that. Because a few years ago, a guy ran out of gas, remote area, walked to the farmhouse, and the farmer told him, go to my gas tanks. And he had his gas bucket with him. So he goes over to the gas tanks, and the guy shot him from his doorstep, killed him. And he said, you're stealing gas. And he got away with it. So this has crossed my mind when I was way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And doing this, Chris and yourself and others like you, being able to speak with us, giving us an opportunity, a chance, you'd be surprised. We need the support of mainstream society. One of my mechanics and where I live drove through Lethbridge and seen our people on the street, and he was really taken back, like it's the first time he's seen that. And he was talking to me about it because I'm native, and those were my people out there. I tell them, well, that's your product. That's your mainstream society. That's your product after how many generations of this.
Thank you for sharing that truth. And I think that's, again, something that I want to help provide as a platform for the truth. And I was having a discussion as I was with a friend the other day about some of this, and we were talking about the teepee, which in Mi'kma'ki and the land of and Mi'kmaq people is a wigwam. There's different names, and learning all of this, getting truth out is I think an act that that any of us should really be doing. And I thank you for sharing it, because obviously that story is terrifying, and that's the world that many of your people live in, and we have to change that. And so now we're moving into the truth, that then actions can be taken for reconciliation. And I think that's, certainly the lesson today. And things like even your course, Chris, is an action of reconciliation, isn't it?
Yeah, and just to connect to what Joe's just shared, decolonization is it's a term that doesn't sit well with folks.
No.
It makes people uncomfortable. They feel threatened. And Joe will often say this: Indigenous teachings are not meant to be threatening. They're, if anything, they will work to enhance and enrich your learning perspective. And part of decolonizing is to recognize that there are other ways of learning than ones that you've been accustomed to and ingrained for so long. And people don't want to step outside that comfort zone. So think of it as adding an additional lens so you will see more. So not, and we can't sugarcoat history. As a result of colonization is where Indigenous values were demonized, were viewed as superstitious, as devalued, as having nothing to offer. Hence why, then that belief system is still alive and well. And so that's why I'm a supporter of decolonize before indigenize. So if you can at least recognize that there are other ways to learn, then you're open to then
receive it. And it becomes another tool in the toolbox for people that currently a lot of us, I haven't had until, in the last, few years. When we get to that place of truth, then I now have a new toolbox as an educator because I have more knowledge, right?
Yeah. And that truth is very uncomfortable for many, but this work, yes, it's unsettling. But that's growth, that's learning, right?
It is.
And all I can say is watch the videos, spend time as we're doing, visit, hear it, this is the real deal. This is how it happens. And hopefully in these interactions and through this education, people will, that's the hope, is that they will see things differently.
As you talk about that, and as we, we're talking about some really serious stuff here. And I think, we're okay talking about it. More people can talk about it. And hopefully today people will see that you can have these conversations. It's not controversial for us to talk, and we're all going to learn from it.
But it's so important that talk is cheap. And we can talk and talk and talk, but we got to make sure we follow through with action.
Action.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So with that in mind, Chris, speaking to an educator, speaking to somebody in a position that has the ability to take that action, what would the one or two tips you want to leave our learners with today? Our listeners, learners, I call our listeners learners. What is the one or two things you can provide them with a call to action to say, hey, do this and you'll be better?
Well, I would encourage folks to look through our website. We have a module, a section called Desire to Indigenize Challenge. I would challenge viewers, listeners to look at that challenge, and it's so well, it's really well done. And I just want to give a quick shout out. When we talk about the digital space of our D2L Bright Space, Desire to Indigenize Blackfoot Odyssey, as well as this website, we need to credit our dear friend Catherine Wu, who's an e-learning developer at Mount Royal University, who's done phenomenal work designing these spaces as a result of Joe's work. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Catherine. But and also there's 7 learning sections on our website, and these are places to go to in this journey to indigenization. So the first one is working with or learning from an elder or a knowledge keeper, as we are in the presence of Joe, learning from the land, and hence the videos on the sacred sites, learning from Indigenous stories, oral, visual, written, learning from the buffalo. I mean, there's so many places of learning. So we can't plead ignorance. These are the steps: is start making these connections, build those relationships, listen to what is being told. It's a challenge for people to hear longer stories and say, okay, ultimately, what do you want?
Yeah.
That's for us to do the work to hear.
Like,
But I would
do the
just
work.
say the relationship building and working with elders and knowledge keepers.
Amazing. Yeah, and as we look at that, you're here in Halifax to help me and help curlers, ironically, of all thing. At the Canadian Curling Olympic Trials at the Festival of Rings, which is why I'm wearing this t-shirt, and we're going to impart more of this knowledge and learning on some attendees at a sporting event. Joe, you get the final word as you think about, we've just gone down talking about a lot of really hard truths, but hopefully enlightening to people that are listening. You're here to help educate other folks here in Halifax in the coming days. We've given some tips. What can you leave our listeners with about this journey and talking about this with us today, to give them a little bit of guidance?
First of all, I would say to people that are on the fence or on the other side of the fence, we're not a threat. Native belief is not a religion. We don't preach to people. We don't condemn people. We don't tell people what to do. We listen and guide them through whatever. We don't hold people in a closed fist. You hold people like that. You can come, you can go, you can take the advice or don't. Doesn't bother me one way or the other. And we're still relatives, we're still friends. A part of Native belief is not based on money. It's as many friends and relatives as you could make. That's a Native wealth. And children, grandchildren, long life. Like Chris said earlier, his name is Mishtakshuk, mountain runner. And he mentioned that we're not a threat. We're to enrich people's lives. Add something to it, not take away anything, add to it. And it's really amazing to be back here in Halifax, Mi'kmaq country. I got a very special gift from this land years ago, mid-90s, early 90s. And I brought those gifts back, an eagle bone whistle and a feather. You'll see later today. And William Nivens, amazing man. Patricia Marshall. Yeah, I met some really amazing people here. And I don't want people to think I'm the only one. I'm not the only one. It's just that maybe I'm the one that's stepping forward more. Because a lot of our leaders and others tend not to share so much in fear of getting ridiculed or you're this, you're that. Yeah. Anyways.
I've got nothing after that, folks. I want to thank both of you for sharing your insights, your thoughts with me today, with the listeners today. The website will post the link so people can journey on after this. And if anyone needs assistance with that, they can email us at allaboard@neontrain.com. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a delight.
And remember to, as it's on the t-shirt, the title of the episode is our work is is a reflection of a desire to indigenize, but at the same time, our work is a call out to challenge to desire to indigenize. So it's a verb and a noun.
Yeah. Amazing. Thanks, folks. Have a great day.